Hi everyone and welcome to my second Cyberpunk mods video, and in this one we're going to take a look at some alternative mods to the ones that we looked at in the first one actually. Some that you could use instead of those. They're quality of life mods again, and I think this is really what we're going to see for the first couple of months in Cyberpunk. Things that add and fix a few things that maybe the devs omitted from the initial release. Must also apologise here, I still do have a cold. So sometimes my voice is a little bit snotty, shall we say, and not as clear as I would like it to be. The first mod we're going to take a look at is the Arasaka Appearance Updater. Now this mod boasts that it can do both hair and other facial attributes. However, I've not quite got the facial attributes working for me, and we'll go over that in a second as to why. But yeah, it's a really easy way of changing your character's hair in game, and is an alternative to one of the mods that we looked at in the first video. Okay, so once you've downloaded the mod, just simply unpack it into possibly your downloads folder, your desktop, somewhere like that. You do need to keep all the files together with the exe. You can't move the exe out of here and put it on your desktop. You can go ahead and create a shortcut for that if you want ease of access onto your desktop, etc. But just make sure you keep all these files together because the mod needs them to work. And once you've got to this stage, all you need to do now is boot up the game. Okay, so we're in game now in the inventory just so we can see the character. We don't need to technically do this like we did for the previous mod because we don't need to know what hairstyle we currently have on. The file will actually do this for us. So if we go into that now, double click the exe, it brings up this really nice looking little interface. You want to click here, load current character values, and make sure that your save file that you want to manipulate is selected here. It does do a good job of finding your save file location if you're using the English language. There can be some issues if you're using different languages just because of the way that it looks for that location. So make sure that's there and then click load. And it will take a little bit of time to bring all the attributes in, but you can see it's already got our right hairstyle selected here. And it will attempt to get the facial attributes as well. If they turn red, that means that it hasn't been able to detect your facial attributes from your save, and unfortunately I've not been able to get this portion of the mod working. It is, an alpha release of the mod, it's in its early stages, and there are a lot of things left to be done with it, so I'm sure that hopefully at some point these will be fixed, but other users have got this working, so hopefully it works for you. So we can untick this update facial attributes here because obviously it hasn't selected those correctly for us. But we can very easily look at our hairstyles and get a new one in. Also make sure that you've got male selected here if you are a male character, or female, vice versa, depending on which character model you have. So unlike the other mod, I don't think we can put female hairstyles on, but we will try. So let's just pick another hairstyle here. We'll go for the mohawk again like I did in the last video. Make sure that tick is selected for update hairstyle and go update. It was very quickly done there, and it says it's now ready to deploy, so just click deploy, and then database successfully updated, and we're done. That is literally it. We can come back into game, go into load game, and load that save that we manipulated. Okay, so back in game now, open up the inventory, and you can see our mohawk has been applied. So pretty simple, about as simple as the last type of mod, though you don't need to look at the picture references or anything like that. It's all done for you within that interface, so it is a little bit easier. And hopefully in the future those facial attributes and everything will be available to be adjusted, and I know the mod author is looking at beards and other attributes and things like that as well. Needless to say, I'll be keeping my eyes very close on this one, and I'll update you as soon as things either change or progress.
I gotta dig it.
So this next mod is an alternative to Ini to Interact, which we looked at in the last video. Where that one manipulated the XML files, this time we're actually going to change the in-game settings menu to provide more options, so we can add a dodge key, slow walk, and a host of other options to the UI. So obviously download the mod and unpack it to your desired location. You're going to just basically copy these 3 files out, Control C, right click, copy, that sort of thing, into your R6 config folder, which is where your game is installed. We looked at this folder in the last video. You can see my full path here. Program files, got Galaxy Game, Cyberpunk R6 config. Yours may be different depending on whether you've installed with Steam or another launcher, etc. We're going to paste those in here, replace the files, and boom, we are installed. Okay, so once in game, go ahead, open your settings and go to key bindings. Now you'll see here we've got a couple of options that have not localized before them, and these are now where we can go ahead and edit the keys that are normally hard coded. And the reason it says not localized is because the language has to be hard coded to English, and therefore it says not localized at the start of the thing. So don't worry about that, it's just something that has to be there because of the way the mod works. It means we can go ahead and add a dodge key. We can change our primary action and secondary action keys. So this is where we can change this to E if we so wish. And we can go ahead and look at a few other options here. We've got a walk to hold. So like in the last mod where we used V to walk, we can now hold / and do that from here. And we can change that, of course. And what else have we got? Quite a few things within the UI menus as well. So we can change a different for pause menu. We can do a different one for the perks menu, different one for confirming, so you could use your left mouse click, all that sort of stuff for confirming dialogue. We can change our quick save button. I do wish there was a quick load button as well, because quick saving and then quick loading is something I like to do. And then this is where the UI options come in. So there's a whole host of things you can now edit for your UI options. Unequip, sell junk, preview, equip item, all that sort of stuff can be edited if you so wish. And I think that is most of the options that have been added. Yeah, that's most of the options that have been added by this mod. But as you can see, it just adds you a lot more flexibility that probably should have been in the game from the start. And in my opinion, is a little bit cleaner than the last mod that we looked at, where we installed and just copied over the XML files and pretty much lived with those changes. This one, you've got the option to quickly change these within the game rather than having to go back through your XML files and edit them there. So this is, to me, is a little bit cleaner. Though obviously you do have this not localized, but it's not really that much of an issue. The next mod that we're going to take a look at is the car FOV Changer, and this is primarily important if you drive a car in the first person cockpit view, which I do for on bikes, but cars I'm mostly in the third person view like here in this clip. But yeah, on bikes it's essential. Okay, so we're in game now. I've got 2 vehicles to try. I've got the bike and I've got the car. So we get on the bike, and you can see with my current FOV, I can't even see my hands really when I'm looking straight forward. Just about see a glimpse of my index finger. That's about it. If we open up the X seat, drag across this little dialog window that we get, we click toggle FOV. This will set this to 30 straight away, like so. We can then use this slider to select our preferred FOV. Now using this will disable the in-game options for you, so it means that you won't be able to adjust the FOV while using this mod, basically while using the in-game settings. You'll have to use this slider. It's a global setting basically. But 80 is probably a little bit too distorted around the edges, so I'm going to drop it down to about 73 I think. Seems to be just enough to see. I can see both hands quite clearly up to the wrist. I think that looks quite nice. Let's minimize that. And that is now our new FOV. It's pretty cool. Now if we go ahead and jump in this car here. I believe that it's also been set to the car. So it's a global FOV, so now we have got the FOV of 73 while sitting in the car. And maybe we want to tweak this slightly further because we don't quite like it in the car. We can bring up the menu again and just slightly have a little tweak, and yeah, 120 looks a bit crap, so we'll go way back down. I wouldn't really go anywhere above 80. You'll start to see some clipping and things if you go too much above 80. 73 always seems to work quite nicely for me, but I do like to see the cars dash. But I think let's just drop it down to, I think that's, yeah, keep it 73, eh? What are you going to do? Right, cool. And that is the mod installed, and that is it. One thing I have found when using this mod is I can't use it alongside the camera tools I use by Franz Boomer and Jim 2.0. I can use them together, but I have to use one first rather than the other, so I can't use the camera tools first, otherwise the car FOV XC won't work. Basically, the slider does nothing. It's probably down to the game. It can't handle too many things being injected at once, so I would just bear that in mind, that if you are using several mods at once, like the executable files we've looked at in the last two videos, they may not work together. I've not had any issues with the executables, but just with the camera tools and then the car FOV and Arasaka's Appearance. That didn't load at all when the camera tools were installed on the game. Luckily, most of the executables we looked at so far are one-time use, so you wouldn't go into the game and go, oh, today I'm going to change my appearance and drive around in a car at the same time. You would go into the game, change your appearance, save, maybe come out of the game, and then load back in to play it, and obviously use the car FOV at that point in time. So that brings me to the end of another Cyberpunk 2077 mod video. If you like the video, please obviously just drop it a like, and stay tuned to the channel, stay subscribed if you want to see more mods for this game and others. I do cover others on the channel. I am just getting back into the swing of things, so I haven't done too many this far, but I have a couple of ideas in the works, a couple of tutorials and things as well if you're interested, as well as some more cinematic type videos like the ones that I've done for Assassin's Creed Valhalla. So once again, thanks for watching guys, and I'll see you in the next one.